themselves government. You have members of parliament from the minority who call themselves opposition. Members of parliament themselves government. You have members themselves opposition. Members of parliament are yet to learn that there is no government or opposition inside of and the minority, and collectively we are supposed to oversight the executive. That we have not learned, and it's something we struggle with, and that's part of the problem. I think moving forward, there are things to be done. One, if Parliament must seriously work on the trust deficit that we currently have. But secondly, and Njoki talked about judicial overreach, we had a colloquium with the judiciary recently, and I made the proposition that while the judiciary is free to handle Parliament in any way, especially when it's doing a quasi-judicial duty, please let Parliament handle legislation, because there are inbuilt mechanisms. You can find us wrong later. But lastly, from the executive perspective, it must also reduce its chokehold on Parliament. Kidogo tu, then we'll be able to move forward. Thank you very much.
Of government when it comes to rights. What is it about our Katiba that has limited the powers of our executive to make sure that the executive is accountable to the people?
Thank you very much, Abdul Kadir. I just want to say, first of all,
ask your commander to speak freely. So we'll ask the president to give you permission to speak freely.
Luckily, the 2010 Constitution protects me from any adverse one in the Republic. I just want to say that of the three arms of government, the one that has the awesome political practice, the three arms of government are supposed to be co-equal. But I think it is common knowledge to philosophers and scholars that the executive is the first among equals. And you recall, of course, that democracy itself as a phenomenon for the governance of society is a very difficult practice to execute. It was none other than Winston Churchill, who opined that democracy is the worst form of government except for all the others. Meaning that of all the systems of government, democracy is not perfect, but it is better than all the others. But Churchill also says something else. He said that the best argument against democracy is a 5-minute conversation with the average voter. What I'm trying to say is that the performance of democracy is very difficult. If something goes wrong in the country, citizens will not blame the legislature. They will not blame the judiciary. They will look to the president. That the doctrine of separation of powers and of checks and balances works only when there's I like to say that for the need to function. If you remove the cartilage, you're going to have both bones rubbing against each other. So what I'm trying to say is that the judiciary is the cartilage of a democratic polity. It must do its job in our constitution. The legislature obviously must make laws. The executive must implement those laws. And so what our constitution gives us is a system in which the three arms of government, they are independent, I want to say that, but fundamentally, when they practice governance, they do so in a way that is interdependent. And I think about the concept of interdependence. That concept does not mean that the judiciary, for example, when it is looking at policy, it is looking at the decisions of the government, of the executive. It does not mean that if it exercises its mind on, for example, the principle of the political doctrine, okay, giving the benefit of the doubt to the executive because of its awesome responsibility. It does not mean that the judiciary is seated that the legislature itself, it represents the people. Almost as clean as Caesar's wife. Which is what our Constitution demands. And looked outward. The legislative
for a good professor, and I hope the president will not take any actions against him if he has spoken too freely. Let me go to the if he has spoken too freely. Let me go to auditor. Our old constitution had the control and come into being and exercise those powers to the point
that moving forward, hopefully, we shall put the Constitution at the front of all decisions and actions that we take as government. To answer the question concerning the Auditor General, we'd have first to demystify and remove the misconception concerning constitutional commissions and independent offices. Most of the time we hear people referring to the CCIOs, as we call them, as competitors to the governance structures already established, or as a fourth arm of government. That is far from the truth. Constitutional commissions and independent offices are not a fourth arm of government. They are intermediaries between the people and the three arms of government structures already established, or as a fourth arm of government. That is far from the truth. Constitutional commissions and independent offices are not a fourth arm of government. They are three arms of government who are ideally supposed to be independent of each other, whether at the national or at the sub-national level. And as CCIOs, we are tasked to protect that sovereignty through our various mandates, including the audit of how public finance is being applied in the actions, in the activities, in the policies, in delivery of services, and also in sustainable development, and report on this. But of course, the Constitution also contemplates that there will be action taken on this. We are also required to secure the observance by all state organs, and all state organs includes the Constitution Commissions and independent offices, on the democratic values and principles. And that means we recognize that as a democracy, the ultimate power rests with the people, and hence the Constitution, whether in form of funds or whether in form of our other wealth within the country. So the Constitution did not envisage the breach of this requirement or tokenism country. So the Constitution did not envisage the breach of this requirement or tokenism or superficial gestures or symbolic. And the judicial parliament and the speaker is here, that we need a law and we need regulations on public participation. Point of reference. So, with regard to the work that I do as the Office of the Auditor General, we follow the money that Parliament appropriates, because the money is appropriated by Parliament, the money is oversighted by Parliament, and Parliament reports back to the citizens on how the funds that they have because when you follow the money, and sometimes decisions are made that require or that are informed. 49 requires that I report on the sovereignty and the public participation of the people. We have seen some improvements in terms of implementation of audit recommendations with the discussions with the head of public service on how issues should be addressed within the various state departments and within the various state-owned enterprises, and of course drill down to the sub-national level. We have seen more interest in what issues are being raised, what risks are there, what internal controls need to be established, so that at the end of the day, there is meaningful development and there is quality and sustainable service delivery. Thank you.
Thank you. Please give her. Unlike the auditor, many other commissions, and I'll not name any so that you have a freedom to speak, are not, don't have the same views as far as the Kenyans are concerned. There are many, each of those Chapter 15 organizations was set up specifically because of a that the Constitution realized needed addressed at the constitutional level. Quite a number of those challenges, a major answer to our constitutional problems, to our governance problems. Would of these commissions, okay, probably you will not say, but let me say that many of those commissions probably have not met that threshold. What is the challenge that faces many of the commissions, so that the executive feels they are stepping on the executive's toes? The people have not seen the benefits of those commissions. Are they too many? Did we not design them well? Why do you think the commissions have not performed as well as hoped?
Thank you. We have to go back to what I said earlier. The perception that constitution commissions and independent offices are compared to commission and independent office. And therein lies the problem. That the funding that should go to a constitution commission to carry out its mandate continuously and effectively is first of all not there. And then there are perennial disagreements between particular state departments or other agencies on the role and mandate of constitutional commissions and independent offices. However, there have been a lot of successes. And we've seen, and unfortunately, sometimes other agencies take credit. If you look at some of the work that's done, for example, by the National Land Commission, you'll find that when it comes to discussions in public, it is the Ministry of Lands that will be at the forefront. My good friend Alice is looking at me. If you look at, for example, when we are dealing with the teachers in the country, you will not hear the Teacher Service Commission being mentioned. You'll hear the Ministry of Education. But the boardroom discussions and the decisions made to ensure we streamline education is under the Teacher Service Commission, including many others. You look at the control of budget, and I think you asked why now control of budget and Auditor General. It was part of ensuring there was independence. Constitution, and then query, and we approved the funds in the first place. This separation means that the controller is able to sort things upstream before the auditor comes downstream to ensure now that the funds that she released or she authorized are utilized properly. So there are many examples of success. To do is ensure the voice of the Constitution Commissions in terms of the achievements is actually at the forefront and not drowned by other.
Thank you. Your Excellency Governor, there is no doubt that has delivered for the people to get that kind of kudos from our people.
Okay, thank you so much, Moderator. I must say, I congratulate the drafters of the Constitution, and that is why I'm sitting here. It's because of it's the fruits of you can't imagine a girl from a marginalized gains. Devolution is one of the gains of the Constitution, and it has brought governance, and it has promoted equity, inclusion, and also local development. If you look at the county governments, region, we only had one facility serving as an ICU center. That is Coast General Hospital. But because of devolution, I have an ICU center in Kwale. We have renal units. I have an oncology center. So devolution has brought a lot of a change. It has given people opportunity to participate, to propose what they want. We've given our people the opportunity to decide on what they want the government to do. And that's why we've seen a lot of changes in counties in terms of health, ECDs, like in my county, from 0 ECD to 540 ECD centers, from 0 ECD teachers to around 900 ECD teachers on permanent and pension basis. And this is happening all over the country. in terms of economy, the local economy has grown. Looking at my county, we have over 200 women and youth group companies who are doing business with the county government. It never used to happen. It's happening now. So devolution is a real thing which the Constitution brought to the people of Kenya.
Asante sana. Now, with good things comes challenges. There are those who view governors and officials of the counties, or let me put it this way, how would you suggest we address the rampant question of misuse of funds at the county level?
Okay, thank you. I must say, I don't know what's happened. It's like everybody's looking at the county government, and the money is all over the country. But you look at everybody condemning and criticizing county government when it comes to corruption. I want to call upon Kenyans to go and see what is happening in counties. True, the Auditor General does audits of all our books. So when you talk of corruption, unless the Auditor General does not do her work. But because they do audits, where does the corruption come in? So as counties, it's unfortunate that each and every time they talk of governance, they talk about corruption. There's so much, there are a lot of challenges which we are facing as county government, but all in all, counties are doing a lot of work.
Thank you very much. And I agree with you, it's because of the transparency. Everybody knows every shilling that comes to the counties. Just like CDF. CDF, for those who have been in employment, will tell you is one of the most useful use of the shilling. The Kenyan shilling, one of the most useful uses in CDF. But because of its challenges in terms of the constitution, and because it's so transparent, it attracts a lot of negatives. But so are counties, and I agree. I think that's a good thing. I think it's good to accept that the challenges are there and see how we can address. Let me say that our Katiba came with a lot. Constitutions are generally about limiting power. They're about limiting the power of the government. And our Katiba really put our people at the center of our governance and came up with a number of devices to bring accountability. Quite a number of them have not met their hopes because of, the Honorable Speaker will forgive me, he was the Honorable Tangula, he was also a member of our committee, because of mostly the Parliament's, for example, vetting of senior government officers. Many would have hoped that there is far much more stringent vetting. For example, the recall of MPs, essentially in my opinion, between the legislature and the judiciary, it's not possible right now easily to recall MPs. And quite a number of the devices the Constitution has proposed, Parliament has those challenges. I believe the counties have the challenges we mentioned. I believe the judiciary has had a lot of criticism in terms of its overstep, in terms of overstepping in political questions like impeachment, in terms of hampering the executive's freedom to work, even when, in terms of hampering the executive's freedom to work. Circumstances. You could balance the right of one person versus the right of the majority of the people while still giving that party their rights. I think overall our constitution has delivered beyond measure. Anybody who lives in this region knows the freedoms
are experiments. It is not a destination that when you get there, you are going to say, voila, I've arrived. It's a journey. And if you look at the oldest democracies in the world, and I don't want to mention the mores, the traditions, and the norms of democracy. This democracy here in Kenya is a very young democracy. And I would say that we had an authoritarian commissions. There are too many, okay? But let me just say this. Human rights violations are an anathema to the Constitution. But we know that the performance of the rights of assembly, the rights of speech, and so on, it's a difficult journey. You know, I was having a conversation with the Attorney General the other day, and we were talking about how in this country we need a protest law. A protest law that defines what happens when citizens rightfully exercise their right to assembly, so that some of the things that have happened do not happen. I want to say to the President that, Mr. President, you've been a panel of experts, is unprecedented panel of experts, historic, and it's really not happened on this continent. If you go back and you look at the South African Truth Commission, okay, with all due respect to my friend, the late Archbishop Desmond Tutu, not much happened there. People would go before the commission, they would tell their stories, there would be a few tears, and they would be given a Kleenex napkin to go and wipe their tears, and they'll be sent away. What we are doing here with the action by the President, we are doing the first limb of giving justice to the victims.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It answers the questions in the Bill of Rights, and it answers those questions in a very good way, and we look forward to a very fruitful process in this panel that the President has appointed. Thank you so much. Process in this panel that the President has appointed. Thank you so much.
Prof, we have a lot of hope in that process, and we have a lot of confidence in you and your team. I know you have gotten a bit of criticism on those issues, but hang in there, and we thank the President for setting up that team. In actual fact, it really will go, in my opinion, a long way in healing the country as we